Well, today is day 91, and we are on April 1st. And actually, today is my dad's birthday. So happy birthday, Dad! Today's devotion is called Stirring the Heart, and we have started a new book, a new month, and we're in the second quarter of this year of reading the Bible through alphabetically in a year. And today's morning rinse is Ezra 1 through 4. And if you've never read Ezra before, you might not necessarily be familiar with some of the things going on, but Ezra was such a godly man. And, you know, we oftentimes think of such popular men like David and Daniel and Moses and some of the greats of the Bible. But Ezra is often overlooked because just maybe his small book or whatever, but he is also attributed to writing the Chronicles as well. And some people say that he wrote Nehemiah as well. And so that is one of my favorite books of the Bible. And so I hope that continually reading through the book and you learning a little bit more about Ezra and just hearing his voice some more will make you a fan of this man. So after you have read Ezra 1 through 4, we're going to talk about the featured verse, and that featured verse is Ezra 1:5. So the featured verse is Ezra 1:5. Then the heads of fathers' households of Judah and Benjamin and the priests and the Levites arose, even everyone whose spirit God had stirred to go up and rebuild the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. So I have many fond childhood memories of my mom standing at the stove stirring chili in a big silver pot. I mean, our house back when I was growing up was very small, and the kitchen was tiny, and we didn't have like a formal dining area. We just had a table, you know, and a kitchen, and so it was small and tight knit, and my mom made it work. And she would be standing at the oven, and she would be stirring, and I just have these vivid memories of her with her aprons on, and she always wore these hand sewn aprons, and it seemed to always match her also hand sewn sunflower curtains that matched her yellow painted kitchen walls. It was like just all of it was cohesive, if you will. And I attribute probably my love of yellow to my mom's yellow walls growing up. I'm sure you've heard me tell that story before. And I used to always think that her yellow walls were just too bright, and her yellow kitchen sunflower curtains were just too bright. And now I love them. She would always stand with this big wooden spoon and just slowly stir our dinner. And for a young mind, sometimes dinner seemed to take a lifetime. I remember just being hungry and the whole house smelling, but that stirring of the meal was part of the process. And it was almost like an art. And for dinner to taste its finest, one may need to know when to stir at the perfect time, so that it's not only avoiding the food sticking to the bottom of the pot, but it also ensures that the ingredients are cooked evenly. And then when it was time for us to indulge, my mom would scoop the meal out and hand us our bowls, and we would eat. I remember in the summertime when my mom would babysit, she used to babysit kids throughout the neighborhood or in the town, and our favorite meal was hot dogs and macaroni and cheese. And we would have that about once a week. And for whatever reason, it was just the best lunch ever. And we would see her stirring the macaroni and cheese, and we would get our lunch. And it just, I still remember to this day, macaroni and cheese from my mom was just the best. I believe that God stirs our hearts like this. I like to call our hearts his heavenly pot, where he first drops in the vision for our lives, and he then stirs in faith for the journey, whether it's stirring in people to encourage us, or stirring in a pastor giving us a strong word, or training in our craft and the needed things that we need to have in our hearts and in our lives as skill sets, those needed resources, he'll sprinkle those in, and of course, his word for guidance. He stirs and he stirs with the hope that we will yield to this stirring, or what we also refer to as his calling on our lives. And in today's morning rinse, we begin reading the book of Ezra, one of multiple books that captures the return of the exiles to Jerusalem. And Ezra, he documents various pieces to the story, including the work that was entailed with the construction. And the task of building the temple, obviously I'm in real estate and I know the depth of what it takes to build a home. And building this temple was no small feat. And it required not only many resources, but a unification among thousands of workers. And these workers had to decide whether they would answer the stirring that was in their heart to help. Despite the tough decision to uproot their families and to start over in a new location, these workers knew that their mission was to rebuild the temple. 7 months later, roughly the time it took to move and to get settled, the people came together to begin this mission, unified, all with stirred hearts for the job. But did the work really begin at the time of construction? I think you know the answer to that question. It would be no. The work began when God started stirring their hearts. Just like this soup was ready for us to eat after my mom prepared it and stirred it and put all the ingredients into it, when we obey the stirring of our hearts, we are molded by God's craftiness and our vessels used in God's work and in his kingdom work. And it can be hard sometimes to answer the stirring of our hearts. It can often require the acceptance of faith and change. And it can take time. But may we all yield to that stirring. And your stirring may be something totally different than somebody else's stirring that is actually doing the work. This summer I am going to go on a missions trip, and I've only been on one missions trip in my life, and that was as a young adult. I went to Mexico, and this summer I will get to go to Nicaragua and go on a missions trip with my sister. She's gone multiple times and is leading a team of people who are going. And we are all unified. There's about 25 people going, and we're all unified to go on this missions trip to Nicaragua to serve this third world country. And all of us are going to be unified to go together. But our hearts are stirred for different reasons. Like my sister is stirred to lead this whole team of people. Other people may be stirred to, work with the youth. Other people may be stirred to help with some of the Bible studies going on. Other people going may be stirred to help constructing 2 houses that are being built there. We're all going on this missions trip, but our hearts may be stirred to help in various ways to help bring about a successful missions trip. I say all that to say that you may be on a team or joining a ministry at church, and your heart is unified with that ministry team or with that project or with that mission in God's kingdom, and your heart is unified with them, but it may be stirred to serve in a different capacity. Just like filmmaking, there's all kinds of different projects or positions in making a film, and you want to be unified, but yet your heart is stirred in one little area. And so I'm encouraging you to take this challenge to dig deeper. So the process of stirring the heart is lifelong. God, I believe, he never, ever, ever stops nudging us. And while we may never move to a city to build a temple, or go to Nicaragua to build a house, or go on another missions trip to wherever, he still needs his kingdom built in other ways. And what is he nudging you to do? would be the question. God has probably already been stirring your heart about something, and you may know kind of what it is, or you may need just some confirmation that he is truly doing a stirring within your heart. Talk to him about it today and work towards making steps to walk out that journey. Whatever it is that you feel he is stirring you to do. Could it be picking up that instrument that you have been needing to refreshen on? Or maybe it's to, start singing again. Or maybe it's to position yourself to be a youth worker in your church or something else. Whatever that thing is that he's stirring your heart in, may today be that day, April 1, to begin the journey of moving towards whatever God is stirring you to do, whatever God is asking you to continually build for his kingdom. May today be a day that encourages you to begin the process and go ahead and step out in faith and take action to whatever God is stirring in your heart to do. And in your evening reflection, when you pull out your journal, write down what he is stirring your heart about today. And ask God during the day, what is one thing that I could do to begin the journey of answering that stirring? What is the one thing? Could it be to just make a commitment to, the ministry at your church, or just stepping out in faith, to make that heart commitment to start the process? Like sometimes it's just a verbal commitment, like I will do this, or I will go and talk to the ministry leader on Sunday, or I will, even begin going to church on Sunday. Sometimes it's just a verbal commitment to those who love you and to those who are around you that you're going to start the thing. What is it that he is stirring you to do? Was it writing down what he is talking to you about? Is that a big enough commitment and a question and more or less that commitment? Is that the action he wants, is for you to just write it down today? And could that be that first step of action that you're going to take? Because next year when you pull out some of your notes, you're going to see this. Was it making a few phone calls today to move you in the right direction? Was it asking somebody to join your team? Whatever step you took today, write it down and begin building the process of answering the call of whatever God is stirring in your heart. And I am so excited to hear about those things and to see what God is stirring in your heart today, and to see how God is going to use you in the future for your whatever God is doing in your heart. I'm excited to see what that is, because it's all a journey, right? Just like Ezra is writing about this journey, we are on a journey too. And whatever it is that you did to work towards making steps, bringing about what God is doing in your heart and what he's stirring in there and what he wants you to accomplish, whatever that is, I'm looking forward to hearing about it. Until tomorrow, keep rinsing, reflecting, and repeating. God bless you.